Greetings, YouTube. Now, anyone watching this can look at the number of videos that I have posted and see that YouTube is a major part of my life. I spend a lot of time thinking about videos, making videos, watching videos, commenting on videos. One of the things I love about YouTube is the interaction, is the involvement with the people that we can engage with and engage in conversation with about the videos that we post and we watch. But it is not the only place where I do make social contacts out there on the net, and specifically it is not the only place I make contacts with fellow gamers. And so today I thought I'd take a minute and talk about some of the places I go to on a regular basis to talk about gaming with my fellow tabletop gamers. So I made up a little list, so I'll make a reference to it. One of the places I go to every day is a location known as the 3.5 Private Sanctuary. Now they also have a podcast that I listen to on a regular basis. And this is they have a forum, and again there'll be a link in here that'll take you to the forum, where you can register for free and you can discuss 3.5, Pathfinder, and there is a 4th edition board, but I've never been to it and I have no idea how busy it gets. This is a fairly small forum. There's not a lot of members, but the podcast is good and the conversation is often quite useful. Another place I go to on a regular basis is the RPGsite, and again I'll have a link to it. This is more general gaming information. I visit there on a regular basis. It's pretty much a privately run place run by a guy named the RPG Pundit, and the Pundit and I often disagree on many things, but he pretty much lets people do and say whatever they please. Now, one of the disadvantages of forums such as this is that you can be banned from them. Someone else can decide, I don't like what this person does, and they can limit your access. I've never really liked that. The Pundit, at least, is honest enough to just say, okay, I know that you're can be a jerk, but for the most part, unless you start threatening people individually, he'll let you get away with pretty much anything. Which is nice, having a close to true freedom of speech on a privately run board. Another board I visit regularly, but not as regularly, is Fear the Boot, also, which is based on another podcast I listen to. And again, a link in there. And surprisingly, well, even though the podcast is a lot about gaming, it's almost exclusively about gaming, I don't find the actual gaming forum section on their forum is a number of different topics to be all that active, which is always kind of surprising to me. But I do have occasionally decent conversations, and people really will get deep into gaming topics on this page. They really start to break things down and get into the heart of role-playing games, which is kind of useful. Next is Giant in the Playground, which is a forum run by the person that does the Order of the Stick webcomic, which is all about gaming, which I've read in the past, and eventually I just didn't find it entertaining any longer, and I stopped reading the comic. But I still visit the web forum on a regular basis, the message board, because it's quite entertaining. There's lots of stuff out there for gamers, general games, D&D and Pathfinder specifically, and there's a lot of posters. It's very active. Now, if you want to have a place where there's a whole lot of activity, it would be the RPGnet, often referred to as the Big Purple or the Purple, because the background theme is purple in color. And this is wild and woolly. The people on there can be acrimonious and vicious and nasty to each other, and don't expect a lot of civility. But it also can be a place where you can talk about role-playing games to a whole wide audience. It's a place that I go to get conversations about things that I just didn't think of or I don't have any experience with, because there's a lot of people on there who have a really wide connection to a lot of different games. So I visit there on a regular basis, both the general tabletop and the forum, and the one that deals specifically with D&D. Obviously I'm going there for the 3.5 and Pathfinder information, but it's still useful, and there's lots of stuff out there. People are posting, for example, if you like the Mutant Future, there's the guy out there posts creatures that he's made for his game and conversations about creatures he's made for his game almost on a daily basis. I mean, there's that one particular thread is so large, I don't even know how many pages are involved any longer. It's just huge. So lots of conversation there if you're looking for it. But my favorite place to go for a conversation online, and when it comes to a text-based interface, would be Usenet. Now, Usenet is an older form of communication. It's pure text-based. There are no graphics. It's like reading one email after another. It's a public forum in the sense that when you post a message to it, anybody in the world can read it. It's less popular now. A lot of ISPs aren't even providing access to Usenet. Mine doesn't. I have Comcast, and they discontinued access to Usenet years ago, which is a pity because it's fully a third of the reason I have an internet connection. However, I'm going to provide you links to a discussion of what Usenet is, a page about Usenet, a link to a place called Eternal September, which you can get free, legally free access to text-based newsgroups that are read through Usenet. There are Usenet groups that are about getting binary information. This particular service does not carry them because the load of bandwidth load is huge for those. But there are people who share pictures and music and things on Usenet. Some honest, some not honest, I freely admit. But I used to post pictures there on a regular basis, both my own and things I've collected. But since I no longer have access to the binary groups, I just deal with the text stuff now. And I will also post to a link to Thunderbird, which is an email client, which is what I use to read my email, but also allows me to read newsgroups. Now, the thing I love about the newsgroups is it is an all-inclusive concept. Okay, I go to read a newsgroup, anybody can see my stuff, and I can see anybody's stuff. It's the Wild West in the purest sense. There are no moderators. There are no censors. There is nothing. If somebody wants to post a comment that is the word F-U-C-K, and it is nothing but 5,000 pages of that word, they can. And there's nothing that anyone can do to stop them. And that's what I love about Usenet. It is absolutely unadulterated free speech. But the beautiful thing about it is that you have a kill file, an ignore list. Somebody says things that you find annoying or offensive, you just don't like the guy, put them on your kill file, put them in your ignore list, and you will never ever see them again. I prefer the idea that you can have everybody in the pool, and then you can decide, I don't want to listen to this guy. This guy, he annoys me. I don't have to watch him anymore. I prefer that subtraction method as opposed to lots of the message boards where you are invited, you can log in, but you can be eliminated at someone else's whim. I prefer the subtraction method that is common to the Usenet newsgroups. And they do have a few moderated groups out there. There's lots of newsgroups on Usenet. There are thousands of them, 14 or 15,000 of them on different topics. You can think of a topic in the universe, there's a group out there that's discussing it. From the most obscure bits of technical information to gaming to sports, you name it, there's somebody out there discussing it. I used to be very active on the Knives newsgroup at one time, not so much anymore. So this is how I interface with the world when it comes to talking about information about gaming with a text interface, newsgroups, web forums, Usenet newsgroup, specifically the D&D newsgroup, which I read every single day. I love that place. There aren't many of us left there. There are old timers there that have been around for over a couple of decades. One guy, Wasp, who is an actual published author named Rick Spoor, R-Y-K, Spoor, S-P-E-O-R, and he's been around on newsgroups for over 30 years. He's an old timer, but really worth your time. This guy, he goes by the name of Wasp. Excellent content. So this is how we interact with the world. I'd be interested to hear, how do you like to interact with your fellow gamers other than YouTube?